Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Honor by Elif Shafak. This is a historical fiction novel. I suppose you could consider it historical fiction because it mainly takes place between the 1940s to the 1970s. In the 1940s there are these two twin girls who are born in this small Turkish village. They are the youngest of, I believe, 5 sisters. You follow them growing up. Eventually one of the twin sisters ends up getting married and moving to London, and then you follow basically her time in London as a wife and eventually as a mother. That's sort of like the general overview of what this story is about, but there's also a lot more happening in this story. The way this book starts, you are following this young woman in the 1970s in London, and you are kind of just following her through her day, and you don't know exactly what you're walking into, but you eventually realize that she is on her way to pick up her brother from jail. So you start the story off knowing that for some reason this character is now in jail. From there you're basically taken to different times in this family's life, putting together all of the pieces of the puzzle of what has exactly happened and why exactly it has happened. I don't want to give away too many details because, at least for me personally, I had a lot of fun putting together the pieces of this puzzle. Like I've said, I think there's a lot to be gained from going into this as blind as you possibly can, or maybe I'm just biased that way because that's how I went into it, and so it's hard for me to say whether or not this book would be as enjoyable if you had more details at your disposal. I read this back in January and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and I still think about this book now that it's like mid-February, and I'm even considering rereading it in the next couple of months because I want to experience this all over again. I am just such a big fan of Elif Shafak now. I've read this and I've read The Architect's Apprentice, and Elif Shafak just does such a great job of building these full and fleshed out characters, which is just everything that I want in a story. The characters in this book are completely flawed and complicated. There are some characters in here who do some really horrible things, but somehow you're sympathetic almost to everyone in this story. There's a lot of discussion in this book about what's required of certain people in certain roles, especially because this family is Muslim and, you know, the parents are from Turkey and things like that. There are certain roles that they're required to fill. There are certain duties that they're bound to fill. And the story sort of follows all of these different characters as they have their own desires as well as what they know that they're supposed to do, and there's sort of this conflict. The way Elif Shafak writes this book, there are so many different twists and turns. It almost seems like over the top, but at the same time it still feels so believable and real because she does such a great job of creating these depth of characters that you can kind of almost understand why all of these things are happening. One of the quotes on the back of this book describes it as being very Shakespearean, and I definitely agree with that. This book also does a really great job of tackling sort of these bigger topics of love and loyalty and family and honor, obviously, and what all those things mean and what our actions do to sort of enhance or diminish those qualities within us. But even just on top of that, the plot in and of itself is so gripping. I was really surprised because there's a lot that happens in this story that I never saw coming whatsoever. I don't know if it's just because I read it in a very short period of time. I finished it in like 2 nights, so there wasn't a lot of time for me to like contemplate what was happening in the plot. I was just enjoying it and experiencing it. But I feel like the ending is a complete surprise in the best possible way. Sort of how everything sort of leads to that point was really great, just discovering that and seeing the journey of these characters and seeing, you know, sometimes where they are in the 1970s and then seeing how they've come to that point and things like that. It was really, really fantastic. I'm really excited to read more Elif Shafak, and I'm really hoping more people pick up her books because she is such a fantastic author. So yeah, I don't remember if I said this already in this video, but I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I give this like my highest recommendation possible to people. If you like contemporary literary historical fiction books, this book will scratch all of those itches. It's really, really fantastic, and really it's all just about what great characters Elif Shafak has put together here. So yeah, those are my really quick thoughts on Honor by Elif Shafak. I still don't feel like I've done this book justice. I've recorded this though like multiple times, and it's just time for me to put the review out there. If you've read this book or if you've read any of Elif Shafak's other books, feel free to leave that down in the comment section below. I'm really excited to read more books from her. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.